Welcome to the Pope's Point of View with your host, Elijah Burke.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, the Pope, Elijah Burke. Thank you for joining me yet again for another edition of Pope's Point of View. And of course, I've already told you who I am, your host of hosts, your guide and light, your paragon of virtue, your former NWA World Television Champion. I ain't got to say no more, but all I have to do in this moment in time is to let you know that you are listening. And if you're over on YouTube, you have the distinct pleasure of watching the show that is known as 45 Minutes of Fire. And then some. That's a Polo Del Mar thing, but y'all know Polo Del Mar ain't joining us right here, right now. We'll be back on for our Christmas edition of Post Point of View. But what we have right here, right now, is indeed a Christmas gift to all of you, including your boy, yours truly, because I am yet again joined by the lovely, the Velvet One herself, Red Velvet. And Velvet, thank you for continuing on in this journey with us as we learn so much about you, your career. Have you had fun so far here on Post Point of View?
Oh, of course. It's great when we always catch up. So I knew this was going to be a good time.
You're right. And trust you me, I've done a lot to contain myself and try to be as professional as possible. But we want to pick up right where we left off at last week in our previous conversation, and we were talking about you transitioning, if you will. Shout out to Gabby Tuft. Transitioning, that's a Pope Point of View thing. We always give a shout out to Gabby. Gabby, if you're watching, you know, it's about time that you send some residuals over here as well. See you doing all your little interviews and stuff, and you've been back in New York, Madison Square Garden, SmackDown, and the list goes on. But anywho, so Red Velvet has found her way onto the fertile soil, if you will, of AEW. She's on the ground. She's up and running. She gets an opportunity to have her first match in AEW against one of the most important people there is in AEW at the time, and that was Cody Rhodes. So she will have a losing effort there. But then again, just a month or so later, whenever it happens, she comes back and she wins her first match, but that isn't on televised TV. That's on AEW Dark, but it's a win nonetheless. But things are picking up now, and we heard her tell the story. Just to give you guys who may not have watched it, if you haven't, be sure to head back over to Pope TV for You. That's the number 4 letter U, and you can watch her explaining, or you can go into the archives of Post Point of View here, wherever you're listening to us on your podcasting platform. But she gets an opportunity by way of a blessing for one, and then in turn, it being a bigger blessing for her. Red Velvet now has been inserted into the match on behalf of Cody Rhodes, who is pregnant, so she is out. Red Velvet is in. Red Velvet is the tag team partner of one Cody Rhodes. Again, somehow, some way, Red Velvet, you keep finding yourself standing next to just important commodities and people in the business. What was that like for you? I don't know. You had to have some nerves. You had to have some butterflies to be in the ring for the first time, and you're with Cody Rhodes, and people are saying, don't hurt her, be careful. And now you're with the pinnacle of AEW at the time, Cody Rhodes. What are those nerves like for you?
It was, weirdly enough, it was one of the calmest I've been. But I don't know if it was just that it was such a big profile match, but I had watched one of my dark matches and Anthony Ogogo was doing commentary, and he mentioned that I couldn't, if I wanted to have a winning effort, I could not let the fact of how big the match was distract me. And that really stuck with me because I like to watch all my matches, and that was one of my matches leading up to that match. And I just always kept that with me, like, okay, this is a high profile match, but your job is to get the job done in the sense of just like, we're not perfect, but you want to have, this is, it's a big opportunity. So I wasn't really intimidated by the fact that I was tagging with Cody. I felt safe in that manner because him and Brandy took me under their wing, Dustin as well, leading up to that. So it was already like there was a bond there was a comfort. So I knew that, okay, this is going to go great no matter what, because I have a great partner by my side. But it was an amazing experience. It really was. It was one of the calmest nights I've had in AEW. And I think it's just because I didn't really know how big it was. Like I said, everything is understood hindsight after the fact. So at the moment I was just like, okay, like I'm tagging with Cody, great. Like I can't let him down. This is like the first time I'm really getting seen and showcased like more than a certain amount of time in a match. At the same time, I'm going across the ring with someone nobody's seen for the first time. No one had seen Jade wrestle. No one knew what to expect. So there was just like, it was a lot of buildup. We had a lot of drama leading up to that. And before Brandy got pregnant, she had attacked Brandy and then she had attacked me and we had slapped each other on the waiting room. So it was just building up. And I just was like, it's time to show out. Like, that's always my mentality. And no matter what, I always say, like, I can't control anything, but once I go through those ropes. And I felt very in control and very comfortable. And we had Arn there and QT, and it was a special night, super special.
So much to cover right there. So much I do want to talk about. And I'm going to take a pause just off some of the things that you said. And we're going to just go in the woods for a moment and then we'll come back out. You mentioned QT. QT is putting his resignation for AEW. He's wrapping up. He said at the end of the year, I just saw something over that was shared where QT Marshall was in CCW and said that, hey, man, I'm going to be around here a lot. I'm going to make this my home. And he's returning to the ring there. And I don't know if he won the championship or not. I haven't followed up on all of that. But what are your thoughts on QT Marshall? And what are your thoughts on him resigning from AEW?
I think him leaving AEW is a loss for us talent, but at the same time, we have to be respectful of people's decisions and ultimately what they choose is best for them. I do still think it's a loss. I think he has a great mind. I think he's one of the first people also in my journey of AEW, who was my first point of contact. And the day I got signed, he said to me, it's time to leave the nest. I'm no longer in charge of you anymore. You're a full-time talent here. And I, messaged him separately when he did announce his resignation and thanked him because I truly couldn't have done it without him. He was always very honest with me. He was always just somebody very honest. Sometimes people are like, oh, well, QT's kind of mean. No, he's just like, whatever he says to your face is really what he says about you. And I have to respect that. He's real all the way. Always kept it 100 with me. Always told me where I could improve. And he was a big part of just that big story that helped develop my character. And one thing that stuck with me was I thanked him the first time was there as an extra, and he was here to tell anyone yes or no. I'm here to give anyone the opportunity, and it's up to you to make the most of it. So just the fact that he said that it wasn't really about like, oh, let's look at you, like you fit the part, yes, no, it was just like giving anyone an opportunity and letting them have that control of how they get the job or not. I respected that, but he will be missed. He's thankfully someone I can easily talk to and stuff. So even though he won't be in the same company, I know I can always contact him if I need help and advice, but I wish him the best.
And there you have it. I wanted to say words of wisdom, but for those of you guys that may be doing interviews and you get asked these off the cusp, sometimes hard or difficult questions to respond to, you just got a class, a one-on-one class in media training by Red Velvet. Now, I know everything that she said was legit. She's speaking from her heart, but this is how you respond to those questions without bringing any more attention in a way that you may not want had when you do these type of interviews. Because your boy had to go in the woods, but I'm coming back out. I'm coming back. That's my Vince McMahon. Come out of the woods. All right, so I'm coming back out of the woods. Now, you talked about the moment and not realizing how big of the moment you were in when it came to you teaming with Cody Rhodes. Red, how can you not know the magnitude of the moment and how big it is when you're in the ring with the biggest? I know you not personally, but you are with one of the biggest stars in the history of sports, and you did not know how big of a moment that was?
Oh, I knew how big of a moment it was. I just think they just took such good care of me and prepared me and just took me under their wing that there was just the comfort. There wasn't like, oh, I just got put there overnight and it's like, I don't really know him and now I'm afraid of like, there was just such a comfort and just a very safe platform of like, whenever I had any questions or anything, I was always able to come to them. So I knew the magnitude of it, but there was just this sense of calmness during the match. My only regret is it was such a big moment in my career and Cody and I never took a picture together that night. So it stuck.
Oh
Yeah, I
my,
know. There's
hey, that
only
was
like pictures of us in the ring, but we never like took a moment because it was still like out of anyone that he could trust besides his
yeah,
right hand, his wife, it was me that he put in that predicament or suggested my name or picked. And that's an honor. So yes, I knew the big of the magnitude, but I think I came into it just more with gratitude and very humble. Not like, oh, this is gonna be great for my career because I can get the clout off of this. Never thought that. I just was like, I was just excited. And I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I'm grateful that that's the mindset I had because now as time goes by and you see how big magnitude of things are and you realize them, sometimes that can hinder your performance. So I think going into it per se blindly to how big it could have turned out just almost like kept me in a safe, comfortable place to do what I do best, I think.
Well, that was my question that I was going to ask, and it's amazing that you went right into it. You have no picture. I was going to say, hey, you got any picture of it? You have no picture
Oh,
with Cody. You didn't take a
no.
picture with Shaq.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
I
so
took a
okay,
picture with Shaq. I got a
okay,
picture with Shaq, but it goes to show you too, the like to just be present. Because from
yeah,
today to tomorrow, you think at that very moment, I thought like, oh, I'll get another chance to take a picture with him.
exactly.
And totally, totally missed that opportunity. I got a couple pictures in the ring with Brandy too, but it's a shame that they're not with us anymore because
But
that
do you
moment,
have a picture with Cody?
personally, no.
Oh wow! Now here I want to tie this in
We
real
got to
quick.
clip that one too. So
Yeah,
we
I want to tie this in because here you and I we have similarities in that regard, but you'll obviously get the opportunity with Mr. Rhodes to do that in the future. Me being that I was his dad, as you know, how much he influenced me, and the world knows how much Dusty influenced me and was my mentor. I got to literally work under. First time I walked backstage when I got called up to WWE, I went to introduce myself to this cowboy walking. Dusty's walking down. He got his jeans on. This was the time when Vince McMahon had ordered everybody to dress bizcast. Bizcast is a term for business casual. So you don't have to walk around in a suit, folk, but you do have to walk around, in a shirt, button-up shirts, maybe a tie, maybe not. Dusty come walking down and he's got his button-up shirt on. He got his blue jeans on. I'll never forget it. And he got those brown ostrich boots. And he comes walking. I'm like, oh my gosh, here's Dusty. And I was just pulling my stuff into the arena, got my suitcase, walking to the dressing room. I stop, I pause, I'm right by catering. I'm waiting on Dusty to come up. And when Dusty gets next to me, I stick my hand out. Hey, Dream, how you doing? I'm Elijah Burke. He slaps my hand away. But move that hand out my way. I know all about you. Why do you think you here? I'm the one that got you here. Go put your stuff down and come find me. We're going to do a lot of great business. We're going to make some money together. And that was my first meeting of my mentor, my childhood idol. And why am I telling you that story? Because I was not in the moment. Back then, we didn't have the phones like we have now. I mean, we did, but everybody wasn't walking backstage, taking pictures and been to the ring. And I never, and it eats me to this day, even when I was driving back and forth from Orlando to Jacksonville, I never stopped by NXT out of respect to TNA. I never got my picture with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, but I'm pretty sure you're going to get yours with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Hello, everyone. It's the Pope Elijah Burke, founder and president of the Love Alive charity. I wanted to take this brief moment to share with you my charity's continued humanitarian efforts to positively impact the impoverished communities in and around the greater Jacksonville area. This cannot be possible without your support. If you'd be so kind, please take a moment to visit our website, love-alive.org, to learn more about the charity and its mission. Also, feel free to donate to our 501c3 organization that operates off of the donation of the public, which is you. Whether that be by website or via Cash App, $1 help makes a difference in the lives of others as we continue to positively influence many people by being the change that we wish to see in the world. What a wonderful time I'm having talking. Again, exclusive for you if you're watching your boy right now, which I'm sure you are because you're listening to me. What a wonderful time I'm having talking, catching up with Red Velvet, and we're going to continue on into her rise in the industry right now as we continue on Pope's Point of View. So, guys, again, good moment, good breakout moment for you, Red Velvet, in that huge match covered by ESPN, covered by all of the sports world, if you will, because you got to cover it. You got Shaq that's involved in it. But then from that moment, Red, you have other moments that begin to come in and kind of build and add to the short legacy right now of Red Velvet, and I'm sure there's greater moments to come, but you're in the ring facing off against folk like the NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb. You're in the ring facing off now against the AEW's Women's Champion Britt Baker. What are those moments like for you? Again, a year, just a year, give or take, on national television, and you're in these huge, high-profile matches. What was it like for you? And let's start with the NWA's championship when you went against Serena, and then we can talk about Britt Baker. What was it like facing off against those tremendous competitors?
Well, these matches, the match with Serena, I found out maybe like I want to say, I don't know the exact estimate, but like a couple days before that. So I just was like, I had already been there since I was an extra. So I did a lot of crowd work. So I got to see these talent firsthand as they were coming in. So once I was being put with them, I just always saw it as like a test to just my skills and my learning experience. But always, no matter how far I've came in wrestling, I always say I'm a student of the game. So
Amen.
Being in there with Serena, I was like, okay, let's see if I can really hang. It's time to humble up and see. And Serena was great. She was such a pleasure to work with. I hope
Hold on. Right here, I'm sorry if I put my hand up for those of you that watch, but right here, right here on this very podcast, Pope Point of View, I made it known multiple times. Okay, when Serena Deeb, I know she was coming in and she wasn't necessarily a part of the roster when you faced her like that, but you're talking about someone that calls her the dean, the dean of professional wrestling, whatever it may be, whatever a gimmick may be. It's all true. When I tell you, I would rave about Serena Deeb's right here on Pope's Point of View, because when she got in the ring, she knew who she was. She showed you in her actions, her mannerism. The girl is a technical prowess when she's in there. And I had no idea what the issue was. We knew she was dealing with some medical complications that kept her out of the ring. And recently, she shared that with us, that she was having these seizures, unprovoked. And now recently she's been cleared. So I just want to give a shout out to Serena, someone who I go way back with as well. And I'm excited for her, and I'm looking forward to seeing her back in action. But again, back to your time with her.
My time with her was great. I'm excited. I was, if I'm not mistaken, my first week back when I was gonna have my comeback match, she had came to TV to get some stuff situated and new pictures and all that. And I was able to see her and hug her, and just knowing she was doing well, I always message her whenever I think about her. Because if you guys think I'm positive, just like the positivity and the light and the energy that comes off of her is very, I love Serena. Every time I see her, I just have to give her a hug because she's just great. And being with her in the match was, again, one of like, I think I'm a very emotional person. So my emotions let me know a lot. If I'm anxious, that could be that something's not right, or my intuition. But in the match with Serena, everything flowed. I just knew that I could trust her, and giving your body to someone and knowing that they trust you as well, knowing that you don't have as much time put in with them, but they respect you enough and suggest you and put you in there that they want to go against you. It's very humbling. And I just always try to stay humble and grateful for all these opportunities of these vets wanting to work with me, because I am still greener than them. So it just keeps me motivated.
Yeah, true professional. Is one Serena D. Okay, I mean, just across the board, just well accomplished. Now, Britt Baker, what was it like? Britt Baker. You know, she for a moment there was the darling of AEW. I mean, you know, just that audience just loved them some Britt Baker. In the form that she was in her heel form. And we're going to get the O's in a second here. But what was it like dealing with Britt Baker, having that opportunity to go up against her for her AEW title?
That was great. Again, I think all these were just more and more opportunities for me to show that I could hang with the top names in the company and almost earn my way to being a concrete part of the roster. So Britt was one of them. I had the honor of wrestling her when she came back from injury. So even being the person trusted to take care of someone after they're vulnerable from coming back from an injury, I should know, it's always an honor and humbling, and still another, I don't like to say obstacle because obstacle means like it's in your way, just another task to learn and grow from. So getting to wrestle her for the championship was great, but man, I love when things aren't as planned. So
Yep.
I was doing good. I was on the come up, big baby face, and then I'm going up against the biggest heel in her hometown for the first ever. I mean, just the fact that
hated it. I'm sorry, I hated it. It's and Pope don't use this terminology. So I'm just going to say it was donkey backwards, if you understand what I'm saying. Why would you bring the baby face, someone who's on the up and coming, if you will, who's continually trying to make and break the next level, and who is as over as a baby face as you are, and you put her out there? This was my thought, and I talked about it here. Guys, you can go back in the archives. You put her out there against your top heel women's wrestler in the women's wrestler hometown of Pittsburgh. I wanted to take a towel and throw it over the TV. I didn't want to watch it. It did nothing for you at all. It was backwards. It made no sense, but you being the true pro that you are, you went out there and did what you had to do, and you were swimming upstream the whole time.
Thank you. It was tough. It was the first experience. I've never had an experience where I've walked out and I was not liked. Right. In general, I'm not, even in general, I'm not somebody doesn't like right away, because I try not to give that off, because I wouldn't like it if, you know, I looked at someone, I didn't like them right away. I never want to give that impression. But when I walked down and everybody was booing me, I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it. I'm not going to lie, because I like when my back is against the wall. And I knew that if I wasn't going to win them over, I for sure was going to have a great time pissing them off, because she was already a heel and we already had so much, you know, controversy going on. And just like, you know, I was being put up against the wall. But I honestly, some people do feel it didn't do much for me because I was a baby face, but to me, I take everything on the chin like a true boxer. Like, you're not gonna knock me out and you're not gonna intimidate me because I'm going to playing what do you call it? Not the home game, like not at the hometown. Oh no, I'll beat you at your hometown too. Of course, it didn't go that way for me, but I liked it because I was like, let's see what's gonna happen. Am I really gonna just sit here and play nice still, or am I just gonna piss these people off and take my job and get the title however I can? And I did. I pulled her cast off and I went, she had Rebel there, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm already at a disadvantage. So you want to play dirty? I can play dirty too. And I did just that. But I make the most out of every opportunity. I think once you put something as an obstacle, you're already defeating yourself. So I don't ever see anything as an obstacle, because if you go to war, you come back and you learn something. So every loss I've had has been a lesson, and you have to know how to lose. So when you do win big, it means something. So it wasn't the outcome that I wanted, but no matter what, it will always be in history. First ever main event Rampage episode, 2 women, Britt Baker, the champion, and Red Velvet. And I will always be in history right there as the first ever main event. So win or loss, that didn't matter, because I still learned and I still am in the history books.
Yeah, that's how you got to look at it. And trust you me, 20 plus years in the industry, oftentimes you're just put in situations that leave you scratching your head. And I wasn't in that situation, but I indeed was scratching my head, more specifically because it's again, you are the baby face. You don't get a chance to I saw you get a little sassy with it. Now let me be frank about that. You got a little sassy. You can only do that with the audience, but because of what was already possibly planned, you can't really sink your teeth in it. You can't really go that heel route and do the things that you necessarily wanted to do, because the more you attack that dog on the wrist, the more the people got behind it. And it was like, but nonetheless, with that being said, guys, I want to take this moment here to just offer this little bit of news flash to you. What news flash is that, guys? I want to let you know that coming up just a couple of weeks in Jacksonville, Florida, it is going to be the return of the Duval Brawl. It is our 6th incarnation of this very event. It's going to be the biggest brawl ever. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to have on scene with us the lovely one and only, whom I'm sitting in front of right now. Red Velvet will be joining us at this very event, and she got a surprise or two up her hand. You're going to have to be on present, if you will, to witness it live and in living color. We're also going to have the former WWE Alicia Fox, aka Vix Crow. She's going to be there. And then we got some huge matchups taking place as well. For the first time ever in the history of the Love Alive charity events, we're going to have the NWA World Television Championship match. That's right, sanctioned by the NWA between Mims and Eric Jackson. Then we're going to have a 30-minute LAC heavyweight title match between JTG and the international superstar Jay Rios. We have the New Nation, who are the LAC tag team champions. They're going to be going up against the Kentish brothers in a title versus title match. FEW tag team titles versus the LAC tag team titles. Which team is going to walk out? Guys, I'm telling you, every match that is going down is a championship matchup. And then we have title versus title again. The Triumph champion, red, white, and blue, Reggie Rhythm, returning from touring and protecting the United States of America. He's going to be in action to defend his rightful throne as the current Triumph champion against the interim champion, Vernon Black, at this very event. And then, guys, it's the biggest Rumble match ever. I'm talking about 20 men for the first time are going to enter into the ring to see who can win the Rumble Royale briefcase that will earn them a title opportunity anytime, any place of their choosing. And then last but not least, guys, let us not forget about the women's championship. Our girl Erica Demia, she's going to be defending our women's championship title at that very event. 5 huge title matches, one huge Rumble Royale, and we want you guys to be there. Why? Because we do this for charitable purposes. This is a fundraising event that's going down, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But guys, before we do, take a moment, head over to love-alive.org. See what we do in the community. Know why we do what we do in the community. Just did this huge feeding process for Thanksgiving where I drove around with my boys, Cameron Russell, Alan Russell, and Isaiah Zane came all the way from New Orleans just to help us to continue to be the change that we wish to see in the world. From dusk to dawn, we fed the homeless. We made sure they had some coffee out there in the cold. And I need your help, guys. I can't do it by myself, okay? So I need you guys to help us out. Head to love-alive.org. $1 help makes a difference in the lives of others. As well, guys, you can do it via Cash App, $, the Love Alive charity. And again, I hope to see each and every one of you at our doggone event in Jacksonville. If you're in the driving vicinity, please come out. Please support us in this fundraising event to help us continue our humanitarian efforts in and around the surrounding counties of Jacksonville, Florida. Guys, when we come back from this last break, we are going to talk about Red Velvet's injury, the return, and what we can expect in the future right here on our sit-down interview series with Pope's Point of View. Hello, everyone. It's the Pope Elijah Burke, founder and president of the Love Alive charity. I wanted to take this brief moment to share with you my charity's continued humanitarian efforts to positively impact the impoverished communities in and around the greater Jacksonville area. This cannot be possible without your support. If you'd be so kind, please take a moment to visit our website, love-alive.org, to learn more about the charity and its mission. Also, feel free to donate to our 501c3 organization that operates off of the donation of the public, which is you. Whether that be by website or via Cash App, $1 help makes a difference in the lives of others as we continue to positively influence many people by being the change that we wish to see in the world. Okay, guys, so your boy is back. Thank you guys for, I'm sure some of you guys probably just fast forward through that moment when I was talking about all that. Y'all, but listen, y'all got to help your boy, okay? And let me tell you why. Look at the screen for those of you who are actually watching. I know some of you are listening, but the young lady that sits across from me, she's always found time. She hits me up. Hey, are we feeding? Are we doing our annual event? Are we clothing the homeless? She hits me up when our big annual event come around because she always wants to do her part, not for Pope, but more so for the charity and for her own humanitarian reasons, because it's just good to be a good person. And I think by doing that, you oftentimes show how grateful you are to be in the position that you are. And we just want to give that love to people who don't have that love. But talking about love, here's someone who is beloved, but yet things kind of took a turn. You know, we talked about what she experienced with Britt Baker and going out there kind of swimming upstream as the beloved baby face. Well, I think something happened a couple of months later. You know, I think Velvet came to a realization that, hey, I'm a baddie. Tell us about this and how did this come about?
So I'm going to be like super blunt on this. So after the stuff with Britt happened, I was baby faced, but I think it continued after that. I wrestled Sky Blue in her hometown the day before All Out. Again, I just got put in a position and the whole crowd booed me. So in that match, I had more liberty, so I took over. I pissed them off. They wanted her to win. She didn't get the win. But that kind of, I think, left people like with a little bit of breadcrumbs on like, could Velvet, like, does she have any bad in her? Is she always just like a good girl? And one moment to another, I was just put in the baddie section. And, you know, I feel like that was a time where I just was also tired of like just being the good girl, doing everything by the book. And feeling like I wasn't getting anything in return, if we're thinking of like wins and losses. So, you know, I like to stir things up. So I went over to the other side, and nothing like causing a little drama than, you know, partnering up with somebody you hated for so long and
Right.
slapped around and all that. Sometimes if you can't beat them, join them. And that's what happened at that time. So you never
You
know.
know,
Sometimes.
yeah, it's interesting because again, you being this, you know, never or not when we mention your size, it's just a fact, and your beauty. This is not a flair 18 to 28-year-old girls moment, but they actually pissed me off about that. I had to make a comment. I don't comment on posting a lot, but I had to comment on that. Like, this man been doing this for 40 years. That's his shtick, okay? But nonetheless, you're beautiful. You are stunningly beautiful. And you know, you and I, we've shared our moments in the past, and because I know what I've contributed to you, sometimes I don't want to say that to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like you're my little sister or something.
Okay.
But you're absolutely gorgeous, and it's easy, or would be easier, for females to probably hate you. That's a possibility, but there's not none of these fanboys, especially in AEW, are going to boo you. That's not going to happen. And then the women who actually can see you and see that smile, we can see what lies behind those beautiful eyes, whether they're yours or not. We know, you know. So with that being, so that was very interesting for you to take that aspect, but it was also good. You have to know how to work every aspect of the business. You got to know how to be the face. You got to know how to be the heel. You got to know how to be a ref. You should know all of it. And I tell people about that all the time. Don't just come in thinking you're going to do one thing. If you come in and your mindset is on one thing, then you pigeonhole yourself. And when that one thing don't work, you're out of the business. Okay. But speaking of being out, in the month of June in 2022, you were out. You suffered a major injury. What was the injury? What happened? And what was that process like?
So it was funny because everyone's actually been asking. So this podcast, when it comes out, will actually be the first one where I give full details. I'm a very private person, so all of my injuries I kept to myself, and of course they get out and stuff. In June, I suffered a hip injury after my match with Stat. So I was gone from June all the way to November. We couldn't really figure out what it was. There was no surgery for that. I just ended up doing PRP, getting rehab on it, and I was back. And I was back in November, had a couple matches, and then February 2023, this year, I suffered a knee injury. Not during my match with Jade. I think the issue was a little bit before that. And I might have felt like I started feeling the change in my knee, possibly after my match with Billy Starks, my first one. But we're wrestlers, so something feels a little tweaked. You know, you give it a couple of days. Nothing was crazy about it until my match with Jade, where I just did a simple fest press. And as soon as I got up, I just kind of knew like something in my knee was stuck. Like it was just stuck. It wasn't really straightening, but the adrenaline was just out of this world. I also had just converted into wearing pants. So I had I think two knee pads on top, and I had my kick pads over, and I had pants, which I think, God willing, held my knee together, because had I been wearing shorts, I think maybe my knee could have possibly exploded or tore fully. So nobody really knew. I tore my medial and my lateral meniscus. If you guys have been on my journey before AEW, Pope knows, he was there around the time I tore my meniscus in 2018. So I retore it this time. And when I did the thest press, it was apparently already torn, because when I must have done the impact, the tear came out. So it came out like a bucket handle, and the stuck feeling was that it was getting stuck in my joint where your knee bends. So there was no getting around that, but having to go in, cutting it off and all that. So that was February, put me on the shelf. 9 months. Usually sometimes people come back 6 months, 6 to 7 months, but because it was my second knee surgery, I was going to take my time with that. And the doctors wanted to make sure that we took our time, because PSA for everyone, if you're not sure, meniscuses don't grow back. So as they're being cut and shaved down, like, it doesn't just grow, it's less and less. So rehab was unexperienced this time, but I have to admit, when I got hurt in 2018, I wasn't as knowledge as I am now. Or you're young and you think that you can bounce back quick. So you say, oh, I'm going to rehab when I'm going to rehab. And then after rehab, no, that's not the case now. Now I rehab after every match, after every workout. I have compression boots. I have red light therapy. I have this really great company in Texas called Modern Wellness that they send me stuff, and they've been with me through my entire rehab journey.
Wow.
And I rehab all the time, every time now, because it was a realization that, yeah, I might have been kicking and splitting in my 18s and 20s, but my body's not like that anymore. And that was the realization I needed to come to, because I felt young. I looked younger than what I am. I felt that way. So I just wasn't taking the necessary precautions with adjusting on being on the road every week. And I feel like it was almost like my body gave me a sign to slow down. So I took the 9 months mentally, physically, for myself, my body, my private life, things I had been going through that I had just put on the back burner. And I said, this is going to be the comeback of a lifetime. I'm not going to come back the same way I left. I'm going to come back better. I'm going to look better. I'm going to work better. I'm going to have my cardio better, my mental better. And I wouldn't change it. Some people hate injuries. I wouldn't have changed it, because I'm a different person from the day I got hurt to now in all aspects of my life.
Talking about a comeback, man. And so you did. You talked about coming back in November, obviously just last month. And I want to point out, guys, again, you heard what she said. She would not change a thing. And that is who she is. She again, she talked about not having obstacles, or don't look at the obstacles as such. Here's someone that works hard, who is very diligent in her efforts, whatever that may be. And you did come back better. You came back looking better. You came back moving better. And the list goes on however you want to phrase it. But the one thing that didn't happen in that big return, and this is the last scene because we're now current now, but the one thing that didn't happen the way that it should have happened in a lot of our minds, you're talking about a big return. When you have a big return, and trust you me, it's happened to Pope as well. Pope was out concussed for about 3 months. They can't wait to get Pope back over at the NWA at the time. And what do? They bring me back only to defeat me. You come back, it's announced Red Velvet's returning. Velvet comes back. Yes, I'm angry, I'm black, and I'm pissed. That's correct. No, just that was a throwback to an old promo. Producer Red is over on the other side of the screen, like, what is Pope doing? So there's a little promo, just a little go in the woods for a second, where Sergeant Slaughter is doing a promo with JYD. And he's like, he's angry, he's black, and he's wearing a chain. It's like, what? So it is crazy, guys. You got to look it up, find it on YouTube. But Red, you come back. Minimal fanfare. A lot of the obviously support from those who are happy to see you back. And I don't know how you felt, but wasn't necessarily, I'm sure it was a triumphant moment for you in your own personal journey to be back. But man, that could have went a lot better. Didn't go the way that you expected, huh?
No, it didn't. But it's crazy because people are like, well, you're always trying to see the positive side of everything. But it's actually easier to just see the negative and say, oh my gosh, she came back and she lost. And that, a lot of people said that, but I was like, hey, you're still talking about it. And you're still talking about me. And it's not easy to do what I did. It's not, people can say all they want. It's not easy mentally to come back from an injury.
Yep.
And one thing is having an injury beforehand, like I did, and another is having an injury when you're signed full time to a company that you need to come back and you're looked at right away. It's not you're independently going wherever you want. Is here's come back, you better be ready. So I knew when I left, I wasn't in a good headspace. So I promised myself that no matter what the outcome was coming into this first match, that I wanted to walk out of it feeling proud of the return. It was more about the return moment for me than, oh, let's win and lose. That doesn't matter. The great ones lose a ton. If you want to keep count. But for me, it was, how can I overcome not getting in my head, not thinking that this knee isn't going to work, thinking this knee's going to give out. And I didn't want to do any of that. And that day of my comeback was, again, we try to imagine how things are going to be. We never know until the day that it happens. It was the best day that I could have as a return. Everyone, how supportive everybody was, how I felt, how calm I was, everything. I got in the ring with someone who's lost to me. So, you know, it didn't come out in my favor, but there was respect at the end of the day because she respected me when she lost to me. And I keep respect all across the board. And I try not to focus on wins and losses because you dig yourself in a hole. And I just, every match, I want to leave a moment that somebody remembers. And I knew that when I came back, I had to do that, whether it was a facial expression, something I did. I just always want to live in moments because that's what we remember. That's what I remember about wrestling, about the greatest times about wrestling. I don't remember, oh, this person won. I remember what about that made me feel some type of way to remember it, because years go by, but people remember matches from their childhood and they've forgotten what they ate yesterday, but they'll remember that one match because it's all emotion and moments. It's not moves or wins or losses. But,
and I think, that's wisely spoken, very wise of you. You're so far ahead and above so many others that are on your same level or appear to be on your same level, professionally speaking, not mentally speaking, because you wouldn't be ahead of them if I was speaking mentally. But nonetheless, from a mental standpoint, you're right. It's never about the wins and the loss. Sometimes when it affects the story, but your point is to go in there and be proud of the match. It's the match. Be proud of it, not your win or your loss. Because one of my favorite matches was the one that I just pointed out when I was brought back to face Mike Knox at NWA. But you talk about moments. Well, we're going to have that moment in just a moment or two. We're going to take a break. Rapid fire is next. What up, peeps? It's your boy Pope. If you are listening and enjoying Pope's Point of View with Elijah Burke, be sure to go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Springer, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts to subscribe today. All right, guys, your boy's back. And now it is time for our rapid fire segment here on our sit-down interview with the lovely, the gorgeous, the talented Red Velvet. The interview series is something that is just so great. I'm having so much fun doing, and we got some special guests to come. This ain't the end. This is just the beginning. We started with Alicia Fox. Now we got the lovely Red Velvet, as I said. But Red, rapid fire time. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be. I apologize to anyone that doesn't get answered in these questions or something. It's going to go fast, so I'm sorry.
Well, how about this? I'm going to start with this. This ain't so much rapid fire, but this is, you talked about the moments, creating moments. There's a moment that is often talked about, often shared across social media. Probably not one of your favorite moments. It's called the crash and burn moment, or Red Velvet doing the dive throughout the rope. It's they tie that in with the missed moonsault. Red, what do you think about the fans that share stuff like that and continue to put it out there?
I think thank you, because you keep talking about me anyways. Firstly, I used to take it very personal, so they want to pat themselves on the back. The first couple of times it hurt my feelings, but then it just told me, you know what, they're calling out the BS and don't miss your moonsault and don't miss your dives. So it just, you know, upped me to better it. They're still going to show it anyways, but I can almost put my bottom dollar that they can't do it or miss it. But learning experience, it's taught me. Every time I hit it now, I just wink at the camera just for all of them.
Hey, that's what's up. Here we go. Favorite color?
Teal.
I knew it. This is supposed to be rapid, but I got to react. I knew it wasn't going to be red. That's why it's in there. It's like, how can her name be Red Velvet? How can she wrestle in red? And I know her favorite color wasn't red. That is crazy. Favorite food?
Oh, favorite food. It used to be pizza. We've now broken up and parted ways. Stomach can't handle it anymore. I'm gonna go with seafood. I'm a big seafood. Just any type of seafood.
Okay. Favorite show?
MTV's The Challenge. I want to get on it.
Okay, then. And that should be something that you should be sending stuff to them about as well. God dang, let's make it happen.
They know. Shout out.
Okay.
Favorite show? Yeah, that one. And then I have to say the Netflix series Manifest was very eye-opening. So you guys should watch that show.
I love Manifest. Thank you for that. That was pretty good. Yes, sir. Yeah. Favorite actor?
Okay, let me not butcher his name. Liam from all the Taken movies.
Liam Neeson.
Yes, Nielsen. It's always his last name. Favorite.
Wow. Favorite actress?
Actress. Oh, this one's tough. I'm terrible with names, but I'm gonna go with. She's gonna kill me. Oh my god, I'm terrible with names. She did Barbie, of course, but I love her more as Harley Quinn. And I have to go with. I think it's Amy. She did. I Am Pretty. I'm so horrible with people's names. I Am Pretty. She did I Am Pretty, and then Harley Quinn.
All right. A little bit more to go here. Your favorite wrestler, male and female, of all time?
Of all time. Okay. It has to be the Hardys and Lita of all time. And The Rock.
Okay. And favorite wrestler other than yourself? Male and female current.
Oh, favorite? You know what? I'm an underdog, and I know a lot of people gotta say I gotta go with Tessa Blanchard.
Wow. And male?
Male. This is that's a big spectrum. I'm gonna go with my boyfriend Chandler.
All right. There you go. Shout out to Chandler. And last but not least, give us your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. And for those of you who don't know what you should know, but for those of you who don't know what the Mount Rushmore wrestling is, that's your top 4 people that will be on Mount Rushmore. And we're gonna do both. We're gonna do male Mount Rushmore, and we'll do the female Mount Rushmore.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be a rough one.
Yeah, this is gonna have a lot of people hot.
Okay, I'm gonna go with like my personal, just how I feel in my heart. The Rock. He's a big influence in my career. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, I got the girl. Trying to think back. Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes. And then, I don't want to piss anybody off. Number 4. What did I say? Okay, I said Dusty Rhodes, The Rock, Austin. I'll get back to you with the 4th guy.
Yeah, you got my stomach over here. My stomach getting the knots for you. I'm going, woo? Or I was
it's such a range. It's such a range because everyone has so much to deliver for wrestling in different moments. It's so hard.
Everybody Mount Rushmore is different. Let's take a dab at it with the females now. Top 4 female. That just basically means the top 4 female wrestlers of all time, in your opinion. That's what the Mount Rushmore is.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is again for me of all time. I'm gonna go Beth Phoenix. Stephanie McMahon. Overall, just have to go overall. Not even just wrestling.
Not bad.
She's a businesswoman.
Yeah, honey. Not bad.
Love. Beth Phoenix, Stephanie McMahon. I don't want to disrespect anybody. Of all time, that can be like present.
Yeah, that's what the Mount Rushmore is. Mount Rushmore just means the greatest in your mind that belongs up there. That's all time. The greatest that you believe should be carved into the side of a mountain.
Oh, that's so hard. Oh, that's hard.
Stephanie, Beth Phoenix. You're not gonna throw Lita in there?
Yes, Lita, Stephanie McMahon, and then
Beth Phoenix.
Huh? Beth Phoenix, yeah. And
One
she had a
more.
big influence in my career. So I'm gonna go with Sasha Banks. I'm gonna go with
There
Mercedes
you go, Sasha Banks.
Yes.
That's okay. There you
This
go.
is
Well,
not a knock to all the other women. There's so many great women. That was a hard question. I respect all of them.
yeah, I think everybody knows that. I have a personal Mount Rushmore than I have a what I consider to be a business Mount Rushmore or what makes sense. And I argue it all the time, Red. I don't argue it. I make the people understand. You got 4 eras of professional wrestling. So you got the golden era. And there's only one man in professional wrestling that carried the golden era of wrestling. His name was Bruno Sammartino. He held the championship for what, 6-7 years. Okay. He is the reason that Madison Square Gardens for WWE is considered the mecca of sports entertainment because of him. So I always put him on there first. He carried that era of WWF. Then who carried the second era of WWF that took it mainstream? Only one person, Hulk Hogan. Hogan carried and made wrestling, like him or not, what it is today. And then after the rock and wrestling era with Hogan, then you had another era, not too much of a big, it was called New Generation. But the era after that, when wrestling saw its boom period, was the Attitude Era. And there's only one man that you think of that carried it then. His name was Stone Cold Steve Austin. But there was also another era of wrestling from 1980s all the way till 2001 that there's one synonymous name with him. One name that is considered the greatest wrestler of all time. That's Ric Flair. So I just wanted to explain Pope Mount Rushmore there. And there you have it, guys. Rapid fire with Red Velvet. Stephanie, listen, thank you so much for coming on, lending us your time, doing this 2-part interview series with Pope. I appreciate it so much. I'm so proud of you. I appreciate Chandler letting me have this time with you. Tell him I said hello, by the way. And I'm telling we got a big 20-man Rumble Royale coming up. But nonetheless,
he's booked.
Yeah.
He said he would have been there, yeah.
All right, okay. But nonetheless, I can't thank you enough. I know the Deacon to the Guideline, like Alakar Comment House. He's going to be excited for this. I know the Primitive One Red sitting on the other side of the screen. I know how excited he was as he's showing you right there with the heart to have you come on and bless us with your presence. Any final closing thoughts? I see that, we know you got your tags up on the screen, but if there's anything you want to say to the Pope Point of viewers, where to follow you, anything you got coming up you want to promote, take this time to do it.
Yes, so you guys have my Instagram and my Twitter handle there. I just started an Instagram subscription that's for all things Velvet. We all get upset when your favorite wrestler is not on television, but I just thought I'd make the most time of being a way to let everybody know more about me. So that'll be really nice for the Instagram. I have a very spicy announcement coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned and just keep supporting, guys, following all your favorite wrestlers and just supporting us, because wrestling is what brings us all together. So let's continue to enjoy it and be patient and kind with each other about it.
Awesome. And thank you for that, Red, and that beautiful smile. I look forward to seeing you here in a couple of weeks in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Duval Brawl 6 event going down at the Berry Hill Baptist Church Gymnasium. But guys, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, unfortunately, Velvet, is that time.
No.
It's that time where we must turn ship and set sail in the opposite direction. So for the Deacon to the God like Alakon Comment House, for the Primitive One Red, for the manager of champions, him and herself, Polo Del Mar, I am your host of hosts, your God like, your paragon of virtue, your former NWA World's Television Champion, the Pope, Elijah Burke, saying, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and always remember, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. You guys, thank you for joining us and look forward to the next series that is coming real soon. Stay tuned. God bless. And this has been great. This has been PR. I can't hear you. All right. Never mind, PR. I appreciate it. 3. Yes, sir. Oh, you good. Thank you. 3, 2. All right, oh, I forgot. I was about to go change myself. I was about to go put on a different shirt. I forgot I told you this is I was gonna put on a different shirt and everything, but I forgot. I just said this. Okay. 3, 2.